Hi folks. So believe it or not, after about 45 minutes, we are still reading the documentation, the README page of httpie. We are a little slow. That's fine, I guess. This is the first time we are doing it, so it makes sense to do it nicely, I think. Last night, what happened was the internet just went off and the stream was just disrupted. We'll continue from where we left, which is the client side SSL certificate. So let me set this up. So yeah, I was asking about this. I was asking about this, right? How does the client certificate work? So this is something we'll investigate. What else? SSL version. You can have multiple SSL versions. So also look at this here. I think it relies on OpenSSH. How are these SSL external package? I think it might have external package because I don't think httpie would be like implementing all these. Let me check if it does actually. Python SSL implementation. Oh, it's part of the standard library itself. That's pretty cool. Somebody's asked about it as well. I think we can look at some quick code here. So you just have a packet replies variable SSL wrap socket, right? You input SSL and then you use the wrap socket method on that. That's pretty nice. Okay, so I guess this is answered right here. Someday we'll look at the standard library and see how it works, but that today is not that day. SN is a name indication. SNI, I do not know what SNI is. I'm not going to that right now. Output options. HBVP. So headers, body, verbose is the whole exchange, and P is selects part of the strip exchange. Okay. So request stuff is caps and response stuff is lowercase. So http print hh prints the headers of the request and the response. Got it. You can view the intermediate response by saying all. Okay, conditional body. Response body is not downloaded from the server only if it's part of the output. It's similar to perform a head request with the request to the. Let's say that there is an API that returns the whole resource and its headers. So by default, the response body is not downloaded. Okay. The connection to server is closed as soon as the response headers have been received. Passing data through redirected standard in redirection. So you can pass it from a file, from a pipe, from again piping echo. That's cool. You can change the commands. You can use cat. Okay, that's pretty cool. So your standard Unix pipe and redirect stuff works basically. So that actually makes for a good question. Oh, but I think it's not like very difficult to see how that would be implemented. How does standard in. I think it might be using the OS package, but still, let's have that there. Request data from a file. That's cool. I mean, we saw this earlier. The content type header is set based on the file's extension, so we can see that. When you use the iterate file path is in text to add a file as a part of the request body. How does the content type header get set? I guess it would be splitting on the period and then looking at the extension, and if it's XML, for example, it might say the content type header is what is mentioned here, right? Application // XML. But what if it's a non-standard header? What do they do then? And I don't think they'll be having if else there. They might have. I mean, let's see. Terminal output. Formatting. Okay. Pretty all. This is default. Apply both colors and formatting. Apply colors. Apply formatting. Okay. Binary data is suppressed. Also purified output. Okay. The connection is closed. So binary data is suppressed if you have prettified output, even if it's redirected. That's okay, cool. Redirected output. You can redirect the output using normal Unix pipes and redirections. Okay, that's okay. Dashboard file HTTP less pretty all print headers, the response headers and body, and then whatever is input is passed here. Okay, LSR. I'm not sure. The rflex tells less. The rflex tells less to interpret color escape sequences, including HTTP output. So I think that's interesting. That'd be pretty interesting. How does HTTPie get the color on the terminal? I think it would be using color escape sequences, but like what are they, and how is it standard across like Windows and Unix? Color, yes, color. What is it called? Color escape sequences. Okay, download mode. HTTP features a download mode in which it acts similar to duplicate when enabled using the download flag. Response headers are printed to the terminal standard error, and a progress bar is shown while the response body is being saved to a file. That's pretty cool. You can use the dflag to download stuff, and then they'll show a progress bar also. Downloaded file name, the content disposition from the URL and content type. Okay, you can provide the dash output to get to give the file name. Piping, you can pipe the output. I think we saw this so many times, this piping stuff. It's just redundant in the readme, but that's okay. I guess they're just trying to reinforce the idea. Days for downloads, US for continue. Oh, sorry, days for downloads, US for continue, and O is for the file name. So if O is specified, you can resume a partial download using the C options. Only works on servers that support range requests and delivers partial content responses. Okay, I think we can investigate more about 206 partial content, cont and content headers. I actually have a pretty neat, man, uh, utility Emacs. So partial content. 206 is partial content indicates that the survey successfully fulfilling a range request for the target resource but transferring one or more parts of the selected representation that correspond to the satisfiable ranges found in that request's range header field. Okay, so the request is a range header field, and then the server basically says, okay, I'm getting that for you. Okay, I think it will be fun to look at use dash h to print the request headers when using co to download to resume download. Okay, the notes. Stream responses. Responses download and print in chunks, which allows streaming large file downloads without using too much memory. So you also have streamed responses. Visible buffering when users stream to make two things happen. The output is flushed in much smaller chunks without any buffering, which makes httpie behave like kind of data for URLs. So basically you have streaming. I think check how streaming works. So the difference is that if you prettify your stream output, it's buffered a little bit because you need the whole line or whatever uh, smallest logical unit is before you can sort of prettify that. But if you like do not prettify it, it'll come in as it'll show up as it comes in. So this is an example where they show your Twitter name, track, okay, TLF. Sessions. I really like to know how sessions work, man. So every request is independent. However, it also supports persons when by the session name or path option. In a session, custom ID is except for the one starting with content verification cookies manually specified to send by the server process between request to send. Okay. So you can save your session using the dash dash session key flag basically. All session data, credentials, cookie data, customer data is stored in plain text. That means files can also be created manually text with the regular JSON. That is really cool. You can create one more sessions per host. For example, this is how you can create a new session using, for example.com.org session. Okay, so I think if you want to sort of have a logical series of interactions with the site, like in the session, you can create a session and then use a dash flag to authenticate yourself for the first time, and then like the session files will be written, the JSON will be written, and you can httpie will use that for subsequent requests. For now, you can refer to session by its name from now on. Okay. Previously alert will be set. That's very cool. Name sessions data is stored in JSON. By sessions host name JSON. That's cool. Anonymous sessions. Instead of a name, you can specify a path. Multiple hosts. Okay, you can also give it the path. That's nice. A session to use an existing session file without updating it from the request response section once it's created. Specify the session name. So if you do session read only, it will only like read the session file, it won't update it. It's also got a config file, httpie. It's located at config.json. Default options, an array by default empty. If default option that should be applied to every invocation of httpie. You can use the option to change the default style and output options to dash style equals fruity body could be session default to always sessions one and default will be used by you change the oh nice. I'll restore some of the material, please don't change. Okay. Unsetting previously set options. So if you have no option, no style, no session, it overrides the config file. That is cool. Scripting, okay, if you give it the check status flag, it exits with 345 error codes, written codes, exit codes basically. Default behavior of automatically written standard in is typically not desirable during non-interactive sessions. Signal standard interruption, disable it. Okay. Okay, like basically when you call it from a script, there's no standard in available. Is that what it's trying to say? That's actually true, right? I mean, why is that true though? It's common. It's a common gotcha that this option has. What happens is that when httpie is invoked, for example, from cron job, standard in is not connected to a terminal. Yeah, it has standard in, but it's not connected. I mean, every program has a file descriptor representing standard in, and it's stored at 1 always. 2 is for standard out. I think 1 is for standard in, 2 is for out, and standard error is at 2, standard out is at 1, standard in is at, I don't know, 0 or 3. I'll have to check those numbers. I can do that right now. Standard in is at so 0 is standard in, 1 is standard out, and 2 is standard error. Right. So when it's sort of used as a cron job, it's not the standard in, right? File descriptor 0 is not connected to the terminal, so there's no way to write data to it. I mean, you can write to it if you sort of can you? I mean, so the process, the cron job process, which invokes httpie, or like the fork of the cron job. So the cron job forks of a child process which invokes httpie. That process's file descriptor 0 will be standard in, but can you externally write to that? Like from outside, can you write to that? I'm really not sure about that. Maybe you cannot, I guess. That's why it's non-interactive, right? I'll have to see, I mean, how it works. That makes for a good question actually. So when you invoke httpie man cron job, the standard in is can you write to its standard in maybe from another PLC process. What you can do is you can point the file descriptor at index 0 to point to some file, and then you write to that file, and then HTTPie will pick that up. That is possible, I think. Okay. timeout, of course. Meta. So we are at the final stage of the readme, I think, and then we can start hacking. Okay. The syntax of the command argument closely corresponds to the actual HTTP request sent to the wire. Okay, that's a good thing. Blah 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 blah. There's a F, so this is sent to the form. Blah blah blah. The two modes pretty all default for terminal, pretty none will allow for both user-friendly interactive usage and usage from scripts or HTTP or generic HTTP client. Heavy development, the existing command and syntax and some of the options may change slightly before it is the final version 1.0. Okay, sir. JQ, I've used JQ before, that's pretty cool. HTTP prompt, man, that looks autocomplete and syntax highlighting. Let's see if we should get this. Depends on the number of stars it has. Holy cow, man, it's got 6.6k stars. Let's see what it does. So I think it's really weird because these things aren't very complicated software, but still they have insane number of stars. Let us see. What is it doing? Oh, so you don't need to sort of. It's pretty cool. So I think what happened here is you can construct your you can enter a httpie session for a particular website, and then you can construct your whole thing, your whole request one by like piece by piece. You don't need to put it all in one line. So you put in your headers and then passwords, and then in the end you do a http post, and then it'll just work. I guess we don't need that though. That's all. Let's get started, man. So we cloned the code. So this is something I'll be. Yeah, I can rename this to httpie. Okay. So it's at open source, and then httpie. So this is the code. Let me just do a git pull once before we start, so that if there is any change since yesterday we'll get it, but there's no change, that's fine. So I'm using Emacs plus Magit. uh, it's a so Magit is a git client for Emacs. It's really cool. It's one of the best things ever. So Emacs is really nice. It's got some really cool features, like Magit is one of the biggest features. Org mode, of course, and like you can compile stuff from within Emacs. It's basically an interpreter. The editor, right? Emacs editor is a Lisp interpreter. It's a Lisp interpreter. Lisp Emacs Lisp is a dialect of the normal Lisp, the Emmet Lisp was in that was written by, I think the first version of Emacs was written by Stallman. So it's the whole editor is just a Lisp interpreter. So you can do like everything is bound to a function. So when you sort of press a key, also it's bound to I think it's called self insert or something. Insert char self insert command. I'm not sure if that's the command, but yeah. So everything is bound to every key press. Everything is bound to a function, and you can change anything, right? So it's infinitely customizable. You can do whatever you want to on Emacs. And yeah, this is Magit. It's a Git client for Emacs, which is pretty cool. Anyways, so we have this, right? Mm, Let me just, before doing this, set this up. Let us look at, so this is the master branch. We have these tags. Okay, there is one branch on origin, which is fine. I need to actually change the config because this would point to my official company account. I need to change this to DARSHANIME. I think it's the syntax. So it's the syntax. httpie. This is what it should point to, the remote URL. Okay, and that's it, right? Okay. Oh boy. Okay, so we have this. Cool. So this is the code. That's it. Let me just. Oh, oh no. Oh no. Here. And then do this. Okay. So this is the code, right? .get folder. We don't want to explore. We have extras, which is HTTP compilation for bash. For the fish shell, let's see what that is. This is the main source, and we have some tests, certificates to test the SSL thingy, some fixtures to return the response probably, and then we have the tox file, which is basically the, I think this is used on Travis or whatever to, I think locally also, to sort of run the test suite. Okay, so I think we can just deep dive into the code now. Let us see. What is this picture? Oh, this is the add picture add. Anyways, by test ini. I think this file is to basically uh, it's like a config file for the PyTest thingy. So we already have the virtual environment set up. I think we can go ahead and install the requirements dev thingy. It has docs, mock, pytest doc utils and wheel. Awesome. So I think what we can do is cd into httpie pip install r requirements dev. Okay, in the meantime we can look at the code. So what does httpie look like? Not a lot of files, man. That's to be expected, right? It's just a simple program. Okay. This is the 1.0.0 dev version. So finally these guys are getting a production ready stable version. It's not released yet, but I think it's pretty cool that we'll be able to contribute to the dev version. That's nice. Okay, this is the init file, right? That's okay. I think it will be really instructive to look at the setup file, because then we'll know what are the entry points into the program. Actually, not the setup file. It's called setup. Okay, I think it's yeah, the setup file. So okay, so the entry point is http, and it invokes the httpie main method. So where is the httpie main? This is the file, and the main method is invoked. This method. Okay, I think we are off. Why does it have Flask? Holy cow, I never knew it has so many dependencies. I wonder what they're using Flask for. Unicorn. So this thing says for pytest http bin. What is pytest http bin, man? I think it provides a local http bin like service. See, yeah, I was right. So it provides a local HTTP bin like service, and then you can use that to test your HTTP clients. Pretty neat. We'll probably look at this someday, but today is not that day. Let's see if we have this done yet. Not yet. Anyways, we were looking at the code. So yeah, the entry point is this method. So whenever you use HTTP on your client, this is the entry point, and it basically just calls the main method from core and imports it and then calls it. That's about it. If there's a keyboard interrupt before that, you have those exit status thingy. What is it, the file? Exit status. Oh. Right, so I think they could use this syntax from itself import exit status. This is because the init from itself as in from the same module. From this module import exit status. So it's since exit status class is in the init file, you can import it directly. You don't need to give the module name or something. So the dot represents the module itself. So it says OK 0 1 2 3 4 3 3. This is what we saw when with the check status flag thingy. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So error control C. So it exits with 130. When you press control C, and that 130 code is supposed to make sense, it seems. So 130 is script terminated by control C. Pretty nice. Okay. Okay. Man, this is nice. Okay, so what does the main do? This is what happens, right? This is what it is. So the main is just a function in the core file, and it's one of the many functions I think. So the core has main, of course, program decodargs. This is the parser part that I spoke about, right? Decodargs would probably try to see like if the colon equal to, if it's colon equal to, or if it's equal to, or whatever syntax it is, and then try to sort of make sense of it and encode the response body, request body as either JSON or form encoder and stuff like that. Debug info, get exit status. Okay. So apart from this core file, you also have files like CLI. These are just the okay. This basically this does not have brains. This file does not have brains. It just provides you with this uh, uh, CLI thingy, and then it just gives it off to the responsible function to handle. Okay, that's nice. So for example, output processing. Where does this output processing thingy go? So for example, the SSL thingy, right? Where does it go? it adds, I think it has to be consumed by something, right? So we get a HTTP argument parser. Oh, I think it's imported by the the engine. So this is basically set and loaded when you invoke the command, and then it's imported by this object is imported by uh, the core, some function in core or some other file. Anyways, so this thing it does pre-process args, handle some special types of invocations, and run the main program with error handling. Okay, yeah, see here. So it decodes args. Okay, so the first function is the args that it receives, they are decoded, and how are they decoded by this function? Converts all bytes arg to string by decoding them using standard encoding. So args.decode standard in decoding. Okay, what is the standard in decoding function? Okay, env. What is this environment thingy? So are we still? Yeah. So environment information about the execution content. How do you find out if is Windows right? So the environment object, right? The environment class basically is just to sort of know what environment the program is running in. Since it works for both Windows and Unix, it's supposed to know that. Okay. And it's not a very sophisticated way of doing that though. I don't know if there's a better way. That's cool. Oh, input error. Order dict. Why do they have the order dict code here? Oh, I think it might be to support old versions of Python which do not have the order dict thingy. I guess you could do from future import order dict or some stuff like that. So collections. I'm not sure who will give me the Python 2 new in version 2.7. Default dict is new in version 2.7. Order dict was installed in 2.7, and I think httpie supports Python before 2.7. 2.6 and 7 supported as well. Right, so I think that they have it because they want to support 2.6 as well, the legacy Python. So, and it did not have that order dict thing, so they put it here. It's a PyPy package, is it? This is done. I think we should have httpie db.dt. No. What? Pip install dash e. Okay, the requirements are installed, not by httpie itself. So now we are installing it. Now I should have it. Why is it getting more packages? And it uses requests like we guessed. I thought it probably could have used URL lib, the standard library package, the URL lib thingy, but that is not the case. Found. Okay, it's working, but it's a bad domain to try first. Let me see. What is a JSON endpoint that I know of? Some GitHub API. api.github.com users, probably not right. GitHub API. This has been moved permanently to HTTPS. Of course, GitHub is awesome. API version 3. Okay. You can give it the version. So this JSON. Give me some example. I can try it right now. Okay. Hey, yeah, Jake, you guys have good documentation on this. Oh, it works. Awesome. So what did this actually give me? What did I ask it to give me? I asked it for users and it gave me. Who are these people that are returned? Just a sec, guys. I need to take a call. Hello. अरे वो कर देता हूँ वो नहीं किया था वो किया था बेसिकली हमने डेम में किया था दिस इज क्यू एक तो मेरे को वो करना पड़ेगा डेम में किया हाँ हाँ यस यस इनसाइट्स पे काम करो मेरे को भेज देना वापस आई जस्ट अपलोड इट इफ यू हैव दोस यस उसमें इट हैज द ब्लॉग लिंक आल्सो राइट I mean, so the insight basically has, I think, three components to it: the date, the title, and the link. Oh, so no, I'm sorry, I'm talking about the updates. Insight, I have. Insights, ka to we made that day. Sorry, sorry. So yeah, insights I have. I'm talking about the updates. Updates, mein, what's the scene with updates? Do we have to update those? चलो ठीक है ठीक है नहीं नहीं वो तो I have वो तो I got confused ठीक है yeah sure ठीक है सेहत के लिए तू तो हानिकारक Okay, so this is the JSON. I think the way to only print the oh boy, the body of the response is this. Are these the folks? No man, I didn't even enter my credits, so they cannot be the folks I'm following or some stuff. They are probably the guys who last updated their like who last pushed code to GitHub or some stuff like that. What is the user agent? What is the response? Okay. Since 46. Anyways, this is a new request with just the response is just the response body. So fine, that's cool. It works. We know it works now. This is just canned code. These guys didn't write it. Okay. We went here. We were in the main, in core main, right? So the environment object is basically just has information about the environment. What sort of data type is that? Data structure is that? It's a it's a it's a class, and it might be a dict or some stuff, and it's got a config. It's got a string as well. I think we can try to name and then string self. I think we can try to update. I think we can print it out, right? So let's do that actually. My env just to see what it looks like, and then let's invoke this thingy. Okay, man, I should remove this. Okay, so it's got 256 colors. http config file. Why is this version 0.9.9? It should be 1.0.0.10, right? Dash tab. Standard error is there, standard in is there, out is there, UTF-8 everywhere, is Windows false, config directory there. Okay, let me check the version of this thingy. So I think we saw a mismatch here. This should be this. That is interesting. Let's look at how the config is populated, because it looks like it's not taking the right version in. That could be the first bug we get to fix. Also, what's the standard encoding thing? Oh, that's not part of what is printed here. Anyways, we were looking at the httpie thing, right? I think it gets it from here. Oh wait, I saw something, I think. Default config directory. Let me not rush through it, let me sort of walk through the code. So the init method is called first, it takes some keyword arguments. and it fills in the default values. Okay. The default encoding. Okay, self standard in. So I think this self.config, this is called, and this is where is this used? Okay, so the config key is filled by this property method. Now we know help URL is there, about a name, about the name of what, it's this attribute. But yeah, we have this configuration file and then we have init. So it's a base config dictionary. So what does this do? The init method of this guy, what is called first in the constructor? It calls the init of this guy, which is what? This guy has no init. So the init of that class is called. Okay, I think it's there to future-proof the system. So if you actually decide to put in a init for base config someday, it won't break things because you're calling it its method. It's init method first. Anyway, self.defaults is okay. Directory is directory. So we have the default config directory thing already. Okay, that's shit. That's cool. Oh, anyways, and then we have this. So what method was called? Config is new, save and load, right? Okay. So is new is defined for the parent class. It seems like super config load implicit migrate implicit content type. So is new return if not exists. Get path. What I'm confused about is this self.getPath. It raises an error, not implemented error, like always. Not exists. So the way it's working is, it checks if it tries to create uh, the directory, and if it fails, it means that this thingy already existed, and then it raises the exception. No, it raises the exception if there's some other error, if you cannot create the config directory for some other reason. But if it exists and you cannot create it, that's fine. It just returns that. Okay. I'm still a little confused about this though. So is new is basically to see if the config directory existed. So we can look at our config directory. I think it already existed. Uh, that's why, and the version is sort of hard coded in there. Yeah. So I just read this stuff directly from here. Okay. But is that ideal? I mean, shouldn't this override it? If the file exists already. So I have this because I use httpie every day, right? So I have the stable version there, like 0.9.9 there. I don't have the bleeding edge master there. And this file existed, and so because it existed, it wasn't created again. But I think that is not how it should work. Anyways, so that file is just loaded, uh, and then it just updated the config dictionary, right? It just updated. Okay. Zip content type. Key error pass. What does this do? So I think one way to do it is here we can sort of override. But how do we know what version of httpie is there? So, so if we know the version of httpie, we can replace that version with this thingy. I think it should be there in the setup file, but I'm not sure how you import that. Probably in it, it's here. So I think we should use this version. We should replace, because this is the function that's calling it, right? I mean, why are we even reading it from here? Why don't we just populate it on the fly? Why do we need to read that file? Uh, let's just add a function to. I don't know if this will be accepted or not, but let's see. So let me think about it. This file is just meta stuff, right? I think we should. And this stuff is just hard coded stuff, man. Oh, so the reason they're reading this file to get the env object, right? It's because the user might have uh, some default configurations that he wants to use with every installation of httpie, and to maintain that persistent state it's stored. That explains the default options key value pair. But what about meta? Why do we have meta? Why don't we just generate it on the fly? I guess the reason it's stored here in the file is because going forward you might want uh, some uh, stateful parameters here which sort of change the behavior of how httpie works. Right now it's just like placeholders, right? About, help, and httpie version. These things aren't critical, but you can actually have a key value pair here which changes the behavior of httpie, and that you set uh, according to your preferences, and you want that to be preserved across all httpie installations. That probably me is why meta is there. But right now I think we can override the the httpie version attribute at least, or maybe not read it from there, which will be a better way to do it. Let's go to load again. Oh, the parents load. Okay, self.path. Uh, I think the default behavior when you get a not implemented error is not to raise it, but just to move forward. At least in the property, I think. I'm not really sure about that. I'll have to check that. I mean, this makes for a good for a peer property method in class. What happens on a not implemented error? Does it simply move on to the next? Let's see. Anyways, data. So here we can add a OVER, override the version with the current version, and then we can do data version with version and then we have to import version, and we can do that. Oh, it's already imported, man. Somebody has thought about it. So they're doing that already. I don't know why it's not getting updated. So they're overriding it on the save function, which is called where? Which is not called anywhere except that implicit content type stuff, like the remove from config option. I think we should just call this function regardless of so update and then just save it, right? Oh, so save actually writes to that file. It creates a new file. Man, this why is this so complicated? I think I can just change this function here. Remove, migrate and remove implicit content type config option. Ah, now I see what is happening here. So earlier they used to have this implicit content type option, but then they replaced it with a dash dash form. So that makes sense. Uh, but this is assuming that the file already exists. So meta is updated. Uh, open write JSON write f dot write. Okay. So I think the best stuff will be to just call this function regardless of what does load do. Load just loads it. No surprises there. It reads the file, and if it does not exist, mm, if it does not exist, it does this. What is this? What the? I think I'll have to look this up. What does this error mean? Poisson, but Google is smart enough to understand. Okay. No such file or directory. Okay. So this is, we are at a point where it has to exist, because otherwise, that's actually true, because when you go to load, does it call the path? It does here. So this line actually creates it. So it has to exist here, and it has to be a JSON. So that's okay. So the load thingy. Okay. So this calls load. So it creates that file if it's not there. And then this thingy, it removes that. Regardless of this, hey, I don't understand this. So try except else. I think else is what is run regardless. And if that is the case, it should update the version. Defining cleanup actions. Yes. Finally. Okay. A finally clause is always executed before leaving the try statement, whether an exception is occurred or not. It is after finalizing on the way out. Okay. So finally is what is always executed, and else is if you do not get an error. Okay. So else is if you do not get an error. So so I think since we want uh, final finally, since we want this guys to execute regardless, we'll put them here, because why is my editor complaining? Because what is happening is, like, regardless of whether you have that field or not, you want to sort of, no, there's a problem here. Like if there's a key error, pass, but still call save, right? It's like there's no harm. There's no harm because it just updates the updates the file. Okay. Oh man, why isn't this creating a cyclic loop? So from here you create call load. Load calls the main load, and then it calls this, and then this calls load again. That is something that could have caused problems. I'm not sure why it doesn't. Okay. Anyways, we'll look into that later. That's actually a weird thing that's happening. So I think this should actually work. This is the way to do it, right? Oh yeah, the print. I just need to use it. Yeah, this should come up fine. Oh, this is calling that. Yeah, this is calling that recursive thingy. It's failed very badly. What I expected, right? Like, hmm, that is interesting. So this is happening because of that uh, load thingy calling implicit migrate implicit content type, which in turn calls load again. So we have broken the package. I think we can put in load here. I think we can put in. So once we do a save, well, the thing is, we always want to call save, and we always want to call save, right? Why don't we call it here? Why don't we call it here and here as well? I mean, like, what's the harm? This ought to work. It's not elegant, and this is probably not the final patch that I'll submit, but I just want to see if it works. Okay, we got this stuff here. This is fixed, and we have everything else as well. This is fine, but it's ugly. So that's there. How do I fix this? So the problem is that we need to call save before we let go, before we return the, before we exit the config thingy. Now we call save. Oh, why we have to call it before loading it? Man, this also should cause a problem, right? Because if it has that implicit, let me actually, you know what? Let me actually. So else clause is triggered if there was no error. So if we actually put in the implicit content type key in, it should trigger the else clause, which should lead to a cyclic calling of function, and it should break the, it should break the package. What file is this? We did a cat earlier, which is httpie. Oh boy, oh man, and then we have this. So if we do have, what is it called? If we do have this, let's call it, I don't know, one. Okay. Yeah. So they should break it, and we aren't doing anything to change that, right? Like we are just. I mean, let's remove this for now. Discard this. They should break this stuff. They should break it. What? Why did it not break, man? It did not break it, but it also did not update my config file. Or did it not? I think I'll have to. Oh man, did I even save that stuff? Uh, One. Is this even JSON? It is JSON. And this is trying to pop the implicit self.pop. Wait, self.pop. What is it given? The whole super update directory equal to directory. What do you mean by self.pop? Who has. Oh, it's a config dictionary object, so it's overriding a dict class. So it has to have this here. I think what we can try to do is I can try to print self here and seeing if I have the same JSON. It should happen before my env. Oh yeah, correct. Oh, afterwards. That's I'll look into it. But it does have this, and it does try to pop it, and it is popped. Mm. Oh, it has to be form for it to break. Holy cow, man. Form. Now it'll break. Now it'll break. No, man, it shouldn't. Uh, because this is anyways outside the loop, right? So even if this terminates, if this evaluates to false, now I should get a dash dash form in my default options thingy. Let's see. But why did it not break? Load. It calls load. Man. And there's something here. Load. Load basically tries to read that file and updates the dictionary. So I've got update. What is update to? Uh, Update is a dict class method from the standard library. Oh, that's it. It is done. It returns. Load is done. Uh, Boy, then it should come here, right? Ooh, this should come here, man. Why is it not coming here always? I think I do not understand how else works. So foo should be printed idle infinite times, or at least once, of course. Foo is printed once, but if I save option, basically, what does that do? It writes that file. Save it trigger only if you have that. And then you have the load function. I don't get it. Is it not breaking? What is happening? What the hell does else work, man? So you try to divide, and when you get this exception, you say division by 0. Else you say result is this. So try doing this. If you get an exception, do this. Otherwise, do this. And every single time you have to do this. So we do not want this to execute every single time. But if it, but else can execute it. There's no exception. The problem is with the load statement. So if the else executes, and I think the else is executing. Do I see a in else anywhere? It has to be there somewhere. Oh boy, I needed to reset this stuff. Do this. Now it will work. Now I will say else, in else somewhere. Okay, so it is in else, and then it calls foo. So after this, it does call this, and then you try. So this function, right? Hmm. So after foo, it so foo comes in twice. It loads first, then it goes to that else thingy, then it goes back, and then it prints that self stuff again. Oh, and now it does not have that. Got it. Smart. So if we like cannot have multiple keys though. Oh, got it. So what happens is, okay, so there is a recursive thing, but since you do not have that implicit content type key after you replace it, if you have it, you replace it. Okay, but since you replaced it, the next time you go back to that loop, you don't have it, and so it just exits. Got it. So in that case, the only way I guess is to save here. Let's see if there's a better way. Man, I should have thought of this earlier. Man, I wasted so much time on this stupid thing. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hmm. So what should we do here? What should we do here? What should we do here? I think on key error you can just save, right? Why not sneak in a save here? Why not? Huh? That seems like a fair idea. So the first time, yeah, that seems like a fair idea, man. So let's revert this back to the previous old value. Now this should be replaced by that dash dash form thingy. Oh, it is. And we have this. Now you run it, you still should get 100 dev because yeah, that I think is a good trade-off. Yeah, that makes sense. It makes good sense. And I don't want the form thingy because I like JSON more. Sorry to say. I think you can push this, I mean, it's a small thing, but you can push this. You can chuck the my env. So let's actually push this. Let's version fix. Oh, that's not very descriptive. What can we call this? Version number fix, and we can. I think. So what about adding a test for this? So this works regardless. Um, like this change only comes in when you sort of have an existing file, and then you have the incorrect version in your meta, and that can cause problems. I mean, it's not like the versions are insane and compatible with each other, but if they were, this would have caused problems. So I think you can actually add a test, and I'm a little surprised there isn't a test for this. Where are we? Oh, the test directory. Let's look at config maybe. Yeah, these guys are trying out the. So let's see. Let's look for version here. Oh boy. Let's do grep in the whole project for version. It's a small project, so it should work really quickly. It needs to be in test SSL, test httpie. Yes, there should be a test version. Not this, not this. I don't want to test the CLI flag because that works fine. I want to test. Where should I put this in? I want to test it. Where should I put this in? Man. I had the emoji enabled. And those are the color codes, it seems like. How are they platform independent? I think you need to use bash or some shell that actually understands these to, get the output, get the color as output. So how do the Windows guys do it? They might have a different set of Windows color codes somewhere for the default CMD. Nowadays bash is there on Windows as well. Yay, Nadella. Where should I put this, man? I'm not sure. Let me think. It's like a basics thing, right? It's probably be in defaults or something. Test implicit method. What functions? What classes? What tests does this thing have? Auto content. Hmm. So I think this represents the whole httpie package, you know. So I think I can just, how do I interact with this? It calls the main function, right? And what does it look like when I run the tests? Environment cleanup. What does it look like when I run the tests? How are these guys using it? I think that will help me. HTTP, give it this. I think it's like, so what I can do is, I think I can import it here. I can create a new class called test HTTP version self HTTP pin. I think I'm not sure if I need that. Test the version of HTTP. What else? What else do I need here? Oh boy, this was there. Holy cow, what am I doing here? Man, I don't need this here. The class inherits nothing. I'll be consistent. It should actually inherit the object thing, right? To make it cross compatible, like compatible with Python 2 objects and all that. The new old style object thing. Anyways, so I don't even need this, right? I'll just whatever. I'll just print. What will I print? Version, and then I'll print HTTP. Let's just print HTTP for now. HTTP. This should print the whole object, and then I'll know exactly how to. I'll put a assert statement for HTTP and like HTTP version matching the init files version variable. That should work. How do I run the tests? I think I should look at the readme file, the tests readme. Yeah. Holy cow, my PC is slow, man. What? Why are you pushing me to another file, man? Oh, we should actually read this. Make tests. I want to do make tests. Does it have an actual make file or something? make all. Okay, what does make test do? It calls pytest cov blah 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 blah. I don't want to run the tests for everything. I just want it. I just want to run it for my function here. Come on, man! I copied this. Copy. I don't want the coverage stuff. Doctors, modules, verbose. What the hell, man? Why is it so complicated? I just want it to run. And what is my stuff here? Test defaults, right? Test defaults. I don't know if this will work. Come on, man. Yes. Yes. Stack Overflow is awesome. No tests ran. I think I should just run the tests, man. Okay. QS. Holy cow. Dash QS. It's S, right? And then we have dot py, and then colon, two colons or one colon. What is it? Two colons, and then it's called http. It has an init constructor. What? That's actually true. Why do I have this? It's the default stuff. And I should also put in assert statement here too, just to make it pass. Holy cow. Assert true. Just to make it a valid test so that I get that passed stuff. What? I removed it, bro. Ugh. Sorry. Machines never lie, man. They're awesome. That's why I like them more than humans. Almost. Some humans at least. Holy cow, man. This is slow. My PC is really trying to restart it. It's been so many days since I restarted. Like maybe that's why. Oh man, just give me this functions, right? Just give me a lot of stuff here now. This is the http dir, and then how are these guys using it, man? They just give it the URL, is it? I should actually look at this code. With args. Oh, awesome. It has that env stuff. Env is an attribute. You can just call it env dot version dot meta, whatever that is, the path. Okay, so it's a function, but is it? I thought it's a class. Look, it's a function. So function. It's a local variable then. You cannot access that. Can we? We can't. Can we? What is a function accept? It accepts keyword arguments and arguments. It's a function. Can't access this. What should I do? I think I should write a function inside of this. Version. This takes in. Yeah, that's actually a good name. I hope it's not already a function. Okay, this doesn't need to take in any. It's a nested function. Ratu return env dot. Let's just print it for now. I mean, I know what it looks like when it's printed though. Oh, this is it, right? Dot config dot meta dot httpie. Env dot config. I think it's a dict, so I should use this syntax. What else? httpie, right? httpie. Also print the env. I think we should call this function. Here. So we should, if we call this function, it will, what is it? Version info. Okay, I think that should work. We should do assert here, of course, but we'll do that after we know that it's working. There is invalid syntax which I fixed, and now it should work. I think one reason I'm really slow on this is because the PC is slow. I should restart once. It's 6:30 and we haven't done shit. Holy cow, man. It's really slow. The problem is I can't actually. So true. I probably can't call it. It's not a fucking class. I think I have to. I can't call it directly, right? Holy cow, now my Python skills are being tested. function attr. Oh, I don't think you can use the getAttr method to access the attribute of that function. I'm not sure if it works for functions. I'm pretty sure it works for. Did it print, by the way? No, it didn't because it failed. It failed because I didn't invoke properly. I'll just invoke it once and see what happens. It should at least it actually won't even print the env stuff because it's in this nested function. Now it will. Okay, should call it again. Is there a way to access pythons? Let's try that out. How slow can this be? Holy moly. What is happening? Oh, I did not call it correctly. I should give it the URL and all that stuff. This is just to simulate the client part of it. It's not actually to get to the configs, this HTTP thing. But it has env. I need to get that. I have to try to see if we can get the. I don't know if we can. What? Come on, man. I don't have IPython installed on this environment. That sucks. Just defining a function. Let's say we have a dot b. Function attribute has no object. Get attr. Of course, this won't work, man. This is a bullshit idea. So can I do this? A dot, if it's bound to that thingy, if D is bound to the function object, okay, it's not a class, it cannot be bound to a function object, it can be bound to a class. So this is toast. There is no A dot D. A dot B, it returns nothing. Can a function return itself or some shit? Returns A, like, okay, let this return whatever, but can this return I don't know, B? Of course it can. So, but we cannot use that here because I have to look at the init. What init is this? How this thing works, man? It calls the main function with those args. Whatever it gets, it just calls them with the args. And then it returns those. Just a wrapper around the core method. Not what we want. Yeah, not what we want. How do you ask the core main method to return the version? Let's look at how that version thing is done. The CLI file will have information. Version. Holy cow, it just returns the version variable. Or does it? I actually sort of just. Yeah, actually. Okay. So how do we write a test? We have to write a function which creates, which invokes the. Yeah, man. Why do we need that stupid thing? This HTTP thing. Let's just call it like ourselves, right? So main, and main is a function again, so that actually won't work as well. Core, it's not a class, but it does have the env. Oh, we can call the environment thing directly, right? Why do we? Yeah, man, that's a good idea, I think. Holy cow. Envi environment returns, we printed env, right? It returns a oh yeah, it returns a ticked. So here we can have that. Let's just print it for now. This ought to work. Oh. Awesome. Awesome, man. So I think I know exactly how to write this test now. And this doesn't even need to be a class bullshit. This just needs to be a normal method. Where should I put it? Config was yes. I should put it here. These guys are what we wanted to do. I could have come here for the idea, man. Test environment, default options, save, env. So I think I need to do version equal to test environment. So how is this fella different from the normal environment? It just changes the standard out, standard error. That's it. I hope it doesn't change our thing. So it's not this actually. It's this config meta httpie config meta version, and then we have to do assert version equal to version. So okay, and then we need to import from pi import directly, right, because it's in the module itself. I think the defaults file had some ideas about how to do that. Holy cow, where is this? Oh man. This should work now. Test default options. Oh, we rename the class. We need to give it a new name. And it does not take in shit. Test configs, right? Yeah, I should listen to these. This will fail. File not found. Yes, sir. I'm not sure if you can call these test functions directly. I think they're invoked by somebody else, and that's why they have. Oh no, I don't think that's true. Come on, man. Oh, okay, so you need to do it by this. Now I think it should work. I thought it's a ticked. I thought it's a ticked. So this is taking forever to run, man. Holy cow, I need to do something about the speed. Can't work like this. It's an environment. course it is. And what is an environment? It's an object. Of course it is. But oh, it has a tick. The config. Self.config. That config has a tick. Oh, so you should do a dot config to access the dictionary. Interesting. I think this should work. Man, I'm really hating this now. I'm doing no interesting stuff. What the fuck is wrong here? Of course. Such a small patch, it's taking me hours to complete this. I guess this is the first one, that's why. I have to be faster, man. Otherwise, how will we get to the kernel, huh? The Linux kernel, huh? It needs a help. Give me my print statements. Give me my print statements. Everything passed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see if it fails without our patch. What is that? What file was it? It was that config thingy, right? httpie, and then it was that config thingy. And if we have a pass here, it should fail. It won't fail. Oh, it will because my file is not updated. I think it just updates. What is that file that we used to look at? Config JSON. Yeah. Oh, why is this updated and how is this updated? The save updates it. That's fine, right? Because the next time you're in httpie, again the save thing will update. 4 passed, 1 warning. Now this should fail because it does not have our patch. Ha! No bullshit. I think we did not need to do this because they might be calling that save stuff somewhere in the core, its core main itself. So the args, right? They might have a save thing here somewhere. They might have a save thing here somewhere. They do not. Then how is this working? Did I upload the file? I'm not sure. It is not updated. I think the test is doing something right by having that, having a save somewhere. If we use the environment, it wouldn't have that. Where is the environment now? Oh, in the core, they imported. Oh, yeah. Let me see if the test does this. It might have an extra save somewhere. Fail, biatch! Fail, biatch! It failed. Now we need our patch to fix this shit. Let us fix this shit. Ha! Biatch! So how do you fix this? Let us write this thingy. Test default version. This should be test version. This should be test version. This should be test. See you are in current version. Okay, this file should be near the end of it. End of the file. Where you want to put it in the middle? What else? No extra lines. Uh, what else, man? Yeah, we need to remove some print statements. This is the patch that we have to send. Okay, this is a test that we wrote. Oh, this is bullshit. Just trying out stuff. What else? This is the test that we wrote. So now let me just run the whole stuff just to make sure that all the tests pass and this did not break anything new. It shouldn't have though, because let me to make test. The issue is incorrect this time. I have done, man. So I guess I spent like 3 hours, but didn't do too much. And I don't even know if this patch will be accepted or not. I think it makes sense, but I don't know if it's critical. It sort of is critical as well because you have that meta stuff to guide your behavior, right? So if one version of httpie is incompatible with the other version, uh, you'll want to know the correct version in your config file, in your env object, so that you can take the right decision on that. But yeah, it's not like very very critical. It's not very big. It's like a single line change. But I think uh, we can move faster now because mm, like I took a lot of time to read the README. That took 1 hour, and then I spent like 1 hour to find the error, and then I spent half an hour to write the code, write the test. So I think now that first uh, uh, getting familiar with the code thing is done, I think we should be able to move faster now. My PC being incredibly slow did not help either, so I think I have to see. I have to do something about this. Hmm. Let's see if our test passes. It was in what file? Test configs, right? That hasn't come up yet. Test defaults or something. Yeah, ours passed, is it? Config current version. It passed. Awesome. So I think we can start making the PR. Let's see it run. This is it, and this is a test. Awesome. Oh, actually, I cannot sign my thing, my commit with my GPG key because that's my official account's GPG key, so I have to unsign it. And now I need to do fix version number, fix env version number value. Okay, so let's hope that it got committed in the name of. Oh man, this is my official account. My, what do you say, that company shit, company account, I'm sorry. This is on my private account. Man, that's crazy stuff, man. So, and I need to look at that remote. Oh, I need to add that user stuff here. I forgot that. Where was it config, right? So I need to add user. I think I did that for one project I was contributing to. Zulip. That reminds me I have to write some code for Zulip also. Yeah, this is the remote thingy. This is the user thingy. Yes, I think I got that right. So I need to go back to this rebase. Rebase is using R. Not rebase. I think it's rebase. Right? Reset. Sorry. Where is reset? Yeah, it's X. Reset. Soft to. Holy cow! I pressed some shit. Okay. Hopefully. Yeah. Commit. Unsign it. Commit. Fix env version attribute. Okay, this is by me now. Awesome. I can push it. Push it to origin. Yes, origin is my fork. Right, right. Yes, it is my fork. And we have it there. It seems like. Make the PR, bro. Mm, if the if httpie already exists, if multiple versions of httpie are installed, the env dot config dot meta dot http. Oh, there's one catch though. This passed, that's good. The catch is that this might not even be used anywhere. Attr attribute doesn't have the virtual version of the actual the current. I'm pretty sure this is not used anywhere, and then we did all this work for nothing. Don't have DOES. If multiple are installed on a machine, the env metadata doesn't have the current version from this. Is that true? What else? This can cause problems if the env is used to make BIA compatibility decisions, and I can't spell. Compatibility decisions. Compatibility based on the version. This can cause problems. The env object is used to make compatibility decisions based on the HTTP. What do you mean compatibility decisions? It's used to make decisions. It's used to enforce decisions. Compatibility. This can cause problems with the env object decisions and compatibility based on HTTP version. I hope that makes sense, and I hope this is accepted. How many PRs does this guy get? 4 days ago, there was a comment. Not found. It's crazy, but I think guys contributing stuff, man. I think our patch should actually increase the coverage somewhat. Looks like looks like the main author does not care too much about the peers. I mean, these are small changes, man. The package is robust. It does not need a lot of work. Anyway, so this was like introductory stuff. I think I'll go into in the next live stream. We'll go into the actual code and try to fix some of the issues that are actually issues, not just the issues we made up and which don't even matter. So probably we'll try to fix this stuff. Are there labels for priority or something? I think it's I think we can start working on something like this. Upstream bugs. from 2013. I think it's already done now. But I think I can take this up. Let's see. So request already fixed this. I think we also fixed this. The issue is just not closed probably. Anyways, so what we'll do is we'll pick up some actual issues and try to fix those. Hopefully it won't take so much time. It's been 3 hours and we have done nothing at all. Okay, but at least we have a PR to show for. I mean, it's not very critical, but still. Okay, guys, thank you for joining in. I think I'll make one more stream today before sleeping, if time allows. Okay, see ya. Thanks, guys.